fellow investigators. Today we have another controversial case of a murder committed by a 10-year-old child. We, who study crime, always want to know why the crime happened. As we tell this story, you will decide for yourself if this child is responsible for his actions. Welcome! Or welcome back! To This Child Became a Killer. I'm Eligor.
And I'm Teival. Hello.
Together, we like to deep dive into cases that involve children. If we can find out why children kill, maybe we can sometimes prevent this from happening and ruining their lives forever. The case of Joseph Hall is a tragic one. His case has caused much controversy on the punishment of an abused child. Joseph was exposed to hate and violence during his short life, and it shaped his actions. Unfortunately, he responded with that hate to the person who taught it to him: his father, Jeff Hall, the American Nazi. Let's get into the case and see what's your opinion.
My son shot my husband! I need an ambulance! He's bleeding!
How old is your son?
10.
How old is your son?
10! Oh my God!
We will start at the beginning with Jeff Hall. Jeffrey Hall was unequivocal about what he wanted. "I want a white nation." He once told the Los Angeles Times, "I do not hide what I am. And I don't water that down." Jeff used to patrol the United States-Mexico border, looking for illegal immigrants. Hall was a rising star among white supremacists. But court records paint a darker side to the unemployed plumber. Hall was addicted to drugs, including methamphetamine. He was often violent toward his wife and children, especially Joseph, according to court records. Jeffrey Russell Jeff Hall was a plumber in Riverside, California, and the son of Joanne Patterson. He was previously married to Letitia Neal. He had 2 children with her, Joseph and Shirley. Joseph was born June 19, 2000. Jeffrey and Letitia divorced some time after which Neal had twins by another father. In 2003, the twins were hospitalized for failing to thrive, resulting in Child Protective Services removing Hall's 2 children. Social workers reported that Neal's home had no electricity or gas, that there were maggots on dishes, and that the children were dirty, malnourished, and had bruises. At the time, Hall was on probation for driving under the influence. As a result, his 2 children were temporarily placed with their grandmother. In 2004, Hall was granted full custody of his children. After divorcing Neal, Hall married Krista McCary and had 3 more daughters with her. At the time of his death, he had 5 children. His former wife Letitia Neal moved out of California and remarried. She then came back to California only a month before the shooting, and was attempting to regain custody of her son. For 3 years 32-year-old Hall had been having difficulty finding work because of the economic downturn in the construction industry. Due to his perception that Jews and non-whites were responsible for a thinning job market, he became a local leader in the neo-Nazi movement. Hall believed in fighting for an all-white society, and had said that he would die for the cause. In October 2009, Hall led a group from the National Socialist Movement in a rally near a day laborer site in Riverside. They wore World War II-era Nazi garb. In a November 2009 interview about the rallies in Riverside, Arizona, and Minnesota, Hall said, "They're proud of who they are, tired of white guilt being shoved on their kids and multiculturalism. They can't see any reason for it." In 2010, he ran for election against an incumbent for the Western Municipal Water District Board as a white supremacist. He actually received about a third of the vote, however, not enough to win. In March 2011, Hall and his group of about 24 white supremacists took to the streets in the affluent primarily residential Claremont, Los Angeles County, sometimes called the City of Trees and PhDs. They had a screaming confrontation with counter-protesters of more than 200 immigrant rights activists, who declared the group as racist. Hall said, "We patrol the borders, we see the devastation, we see the drugs, we know the reality." Dozens of officers from several police agencies were on hand. Just 12 hours before Hall's death, a reporter from the New York Times was in Hall's home interviewing him and members of his group. She also spoke to the 10-year-old, who showed off a leather belt bearing a silver insignia of the Nazi SS that his father had given him. Hall bragged that he was teaching his eldest son Joseph to use night vision equipment and to shoot a gun, as we've said before. Joseph Hall was just 10 years old when he confessed to fatally shooting his father in their home. When Joseph finally told the story of how the events developed, the 10-year-old child told police how he took a .357 revolver from a shelf in the closet. He pulled the hammer back, and aimed the gun at his father's ear while he was asleep on the couch, and shot him on May 1, 2011. Joseph told the police that the day before the shooting, his father had threatened to remove all the smoke detectors and burn the house down. While the family slept, Joseph admitted that he was tired of his dad hitting him and his mother. His 26-year-old stepmother, Krista, also said that Hall had been violent with her and Joseph, sometimes losing control and kicking his son in the back. He punished his children in varying extremes on a daily basis. The police report said that the house was filthy, with the floor littered with clothes, and the odor of urine. Many weapons were accessible to the children. Joseph was arrested and taken to juvenile hall, while the other 4 children were taken into protective custody. Krista was later arrested and charged with criminal storage of firearms and child neglect. Joanne Patterson, Jeff's mother and Joseph's grandmother, was given temporary custody of the other 4 children. In a 60 Minutes interview, she said that she was not surprised that Joseph had killed his father, but that she had expected it would not happen until he was older. She did say that she thought that Jeff becoming a neo-Nazi had hastened it. According to his grandmother, Joseph was a volatile and violent child. He had been expelled from several schools for attacking students and staff. Once he nearly choked a teacher with a phone cord. She said he had no understanding of cause and effect. Joseph also had developmental disabilities, including ADHD and low average intelligence. She also said that he had misbehaved by starting fires. Joseph and his sisters had been educated at home by their parents, under the guidance of River Springs Charter School. Joseph stated that his motivation for the killing was an episode of criminal minds. He claimed he saw a kid shoot his abusive father and did not face any consequences for it. He also believed his father would recover from being shot and that the two of them could reconcile.
Joseph Hall's father played a significant role in shaping his son's worldview through the transmission of extremist beliefs. As an American Nazi, Jeff Hall exposed Joseph to hateful and discriminatory beliefs, fostering an environment that nurtured radicalization and violence. Such indoctrination can be particularly potent when coming from a parent figure who holds considerable authority and influence in a child's life.
We do not want to totally excuse Joseph from his crime. However, there were so many circumstances that led to the overall circumstances that almost guaranteed that Joseph would grow up a damaged individual. He experienced years of abuse, being beaten regularly by his dad. Child Protective Services were called to his family's home 23 times, beginning when Joseph was only 3 months old. Jeff Hall's influence also extended to emotional manipulation. It is not uncommon for abusive individuals to exploit their positions of power to control and manipulate their children. Emotional manipulation, combined with the indoctrination of hate, can distort a child's sense of right and wrong, ultimately leading to tragic consequences. We definitely cannot forget his mom Letitia, who consumed heroin, meth, LSD, marijuana, and alcohol when she was pregnant. This definitely contributed to his learning and developmental problems. There was also alleged sexual abuse. Joseph told his grandmother and father that Wesley, who was Letitia's new boyfriend, has been touching both him and his sister inappropriately, according to CPS records, although no sexual abuse was ever substantiated. After the murder, police officers arrived at the home. They found dirty clothes and empty beer bottles everywhere. The bedrooms reeked of urine, while the mattresses, pillows and blankets were stained and soiled, court records say. Weapons, including the .357 Magnum Joseph used, were easily accessible to the children. Police found the revolver under Joseph's bed, where he hid it after killing his father. A .22 caliber rifle was in the garage leaning against a wall, court records say. An unlocked cabinet and ammunition and several other sharp weapons. Joseph did not only have access to guns at home, at age 10, he knew how to use them. Despite his age, 10-year-old Joseph Hall was charged with the murder of his father. If convicted, he faced incarceration at a juvenile detention facility. Prosecutors claimed that the murder was premeditated. According to the prosecution, Joseph told his sister days in advance that he had planned on shooting their father. He also had a history of violent behavior dating back to kindergarten. Many people were very upset that the abuse Joseph endured did not influence the court. He was read Miranda rights that meant nothing to him. Krista. There with him. No protection for the child. Later Krista switched sides and testified against Joseph. This says a lot about our judicial system where kids are concerned. In 2013, Joseph was found guilty of murder. The judge ruled that the minor knew what he did was wrong, and that there was planning and understanding in the commission of this crime. During the sentencing hearing, lawyers presented evidence about Joseph's psychological well-being. Joseph was still sentenced to juvenile detention until he reaches the age of 23. Joseph's release should be coming up soon. However, there is no updated information on his planned release. This was a very hard case. Do you believe that Joseph was treated fairly? Leave your answer below. Thanks for watching.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this content, make sure to check out the link below for our new merch.